Right now, you probably think being a leader in a group means talking more, being louder, being the center of attention. You think if you just say something smart, something funny, something impressive, people will notice. You're being played by your own ego, my friend. I used to be exactly where you are, shouting into the void, hoping for a scrap of respect. I'm here to wake you up. This is the aggressive reality check. Your need to be seen is the very thing making you invisible, because real leaders don't chase attention. They control it. They don't fight for space. They make the space move around them. If your social situation feels uniquely complicated, drop your story in the comments. I read them, and I'll break it down. But today, we dissect the shadow authority technique. This requires you to be incredibly lazy. Strategically, they use the loud trick because it's easy, but their game ends now. And at the very end, I will give you the one exact phrase that shatters their control permanently. Watch closely. The biggest mistake you make is the rapid ascent, trying to prove yourself too fast. You walk in and immediately start talking more than usual. You react faster, laugh louder, insert comments. It feels natural to you. But to everyone else, it feels desperate. Here is the value paradox. The more you try to be seen, the less valuable you look. Value is never loud. It's controlled. Your brain screams, do more. But power always comes from doing less. This is the predator's pause in action. Watch what happens when you don't rush to speak. Often you hear a pause, and you don't fill it. At first, it feels like you're losing, but then something shifts. People start noticing you because of the vacuum you've created. Wait until you see the echo effect. I'll explain in a moment. Because silence, used correctly, is the iron shield. It's not awkward. It's controlled. It signals that you aren't hungry for their validation. And the moment they feel your lack of hunger, they start trying to feed you. Now think about eye contact. Most people either avoid it or make it weirdly intense. But there's a moment I call the pivot point, right before someone speaks, where the hierarchy is decided. I'll tell you exactly how to win that moment in 10 seconds. If you hold eye contact just half a second longer than normal, you create subtle gravity. It's a pressure they feel but can't name. In that moment, they start adjusting their posture and tone to you. Now, the uncomfortable part. Leaders use reactive delay. When a joke is told or a question asked, they don't jump. They pause just slightly longer than the rest of the herd. That tiny pause changes the molecular structure of the room. Now people are waiting on you. The conversation slows down just enough for you to grab the wheel. I'm about to show you how this looks in a real conflict. Imagine a joke is told. Everyone laughs instantly, loud and automatic. You don't. You look at them, hold for a second, then give a controlled reaction. Suddenly, your laugh is the only one that matters, or a question is asked. Voices overlap as everyone scrambles to answer. You stay quiet for one beat longer. Then you speak. It sounds like a verdict, not a suggestion. You've used the closer's gambit. Here's a conflict. The arena. Two people start arguing. Voices rise, emotions activate. Most people jump in or run. But you don't move. You watch. That moment of watching gives you the predator's perspective. When you finally speak, you don't sound like a participant. You sound like the judge. Most people fail here because they think leadership is the loud dominant. Forcing presence, interrupting, that doesn't create respect. It destroys it. Empathy is often just a mask for weakness in these moments. Try the pace setter instead. When someone speaks, let them finish entirely. Hold eye contact for a second of silence. Give a small, slow nod. Then respond. That is pure, unadulterated control. Now you are setting the pace. The group follows the slowest, most stable element. The fast group becomes slower. The loud group becomes calmer. All because of your invisible escalation. Use body anchoring. Turn slightly toward someone when they speak. Then lean back when it's your turn. You are creating a push-pull dynamic that draws them into your orbit. At this point, you'll notice the mirroring. People will look at you before they speak, checking for your confirmation before they even commit to their own words. You never forced it. You never shouted. You just did less. And now, for those of you who stayed until the end, the master key. When someone tries to interrupt your new calm, look them in the eye, stay silent for 2 seconds, and say, "I wasn't finished." Then continue as if they never spoke. That is how the game ends.